What's going on, everybody? So, if you can't tell by the title, this is me continuing my review series for Mayans M.C. Season 1. This is the spinoff of Sons of Anarchy that fans have long been waiting for. And tonight, the 4th episode aired. So, we are almost halfway through this season because there are 10 episodes in this season, and next week will mark the halfway point. And hopefully you guys have been enjoying my reviews for the past 3 episodes and you enjoy this review and you like how I do them. Also, hopefully you guys are watching my other content, the unboxings, my review series, because I have another review series for another TV show going on right now, and that's on Sunday nights, and that's for The Deuce Season 2, which is an HBO original show starring James Franco. It's really good. Check out my reviews if you want to hear all my thoughts and opinions on that. And yeah, if you don't already know from watching all the past, this show stars J.D. Pardo as Ezekiel Reyes, or Easy. You know, I only name him off because he's our main character, because there are so many, actors and actresses playing so many different characters that come in and out. So I just name him off because he's our main character. The basic synopsis for this episode is when a new threat shows up on the U.S. side of the border, in California, which is where the show takes place, if you didn't already know that, the club must deal with it even if they are no match for it. And it's not saying that they necessarily, they could be a match for it. It's just, to me, I could see this going really horribly for them just because they aren't trained as well as their match. And if you've watched this episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about on how the dude was trained and stuff. If you've also been watching my reviews, you know that I don't think this is as good as Sons of Anarchy at all. Sons of Anarchy is great from the very first episode all the way to the very last episode. I love Sons of Anarchy, and this show, it's not as good, but it's not horrible either. I feel like they have episodes where they just, and maybe it's how they intend for it to be, but the odd numbers, they focus strictly on storyline and nothing else. On the even number of the episodes, like 2 and 4, they focus on character development. See, I don't think that this show has figured out how to blend the characters and the story development, heavy story development, heavy character development into a cohesive episode and doing both of them at the same time. They have moments, but it's either the whole episode is mainly character development and showing how the characters interact with each other and learning a little bit more about the backstory and stuff like that. And then you have moments where, like the first episode, if you watch my review, they set up all these different main heavy plot lines with the cartel, with the kid, with the father, with Easy and the deal that he has with the police, the brother and the rebels, and what the club is in for with the cartel. There's so much going on in this show that I think that they jumped the gun on a lot of it. Now, they have been dealing with it pretty well, but it's just they need to focus more on characters, and they are getting there. Episode 1, they set all that up. Episode 2, they focused on character development, which I loved episode 2. Episode 3, they did a little bit of both, but then they had some stuff that just didn't make sense for the episode. If you watch that review, then you know that what I'm talking about. And in this episode is great, just like episode 2. They focused on character development with also story progression. And yeah, they introduced some new stuff, like we are getting to see more of Easy and, how they're going to deal with the whole deal with the police. We're also seeing how Galindo's wife fits into that world, because she's always felt like an odd character out and that she doesn't belong with him. But yet in this episode, it kind of showed that maybe she does belong in this world, and just it focused a little bit on her, which is what the show needed. Because I always felt like her character was just unnecessary. In all honesty, I never felt like her character needed to be on the show at all so far. So maybe going forward, it looks like they're actually going to be focusing on her a little bit and the relationships between Easy and Galindo, and how she feels about both of them, and maybe her character's going to get a little bit of purpose. Then this episode also focused on what the father had done in the past, Easy's father, because I thought he was part of the club at one point, but I don't think he was. I think he was into some other stuff. So I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm curious on finding out and stuff. Also, I'm trying to be very vague about what's going on in the show in this episode, because I don't want to give spoilers away at all. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job, because this show I could easily do a full spoiler review and stuff like that, but I don't want to for people who haven't checked out the show and just curious if the show's worth checking out. So I'm doing that, but we can talk about it in the comments. And if you want me to do spoilers, I could do a segment of it at the end of the review, and just talk about spoilers. Who knows? Just let me know if that's something that you guys want. Back to the review. I just kind of get off topic and talking about that. Yeah, so the whole I don't remember his name right now, but the guy that his mom is a hooker. They finally went back to that whole thing that they kind of was hinting at. They kind of left off on episode 2. They went back to that in this episode, which was nice. We've learned a lot more about his backstory. This episode it showed how the characters interact with each other within the club, how the club fits into this world, who are their allies, who are just colleagues, who are their enemies, what is their whole deal with Galindo. We knew that they ran drugs for them, but I think that there's actually more to it. Stuff like that. This episode it focused on the characters, which is what this show needs to do. And hopefully, going forward, they keep this good balance, because this episode had a good balance of story and character development. You need episodes. The whole show actually just needs to be, instead of just 4 of the club members interacting with each other all the time, it needs to be the whole club interacting with each other all the time, so we get a sense of each character and how they fit into the club, and what's their deal and what their personality is like, and do we like them, do we not, stuff like that. And this episode did that. And that's what this show needs, because, yeah, we can focus on Easy and his brother and the 2 guys that are always with them, but you need the president to show up. You need, what's Alvarez's role with coming back and forth between, the Southern California Charter, and, because he's the president of the Northern California Charter, so why is he constantly going back and forth between the Southern and Northern? That's something that we kind of see, because he's like the message man for Galindo, but I think that there's actually more to it. We need to see how all the people around the president of the Southern Charter, interact with the club, and what's their deal, what's their backstory. That's what we need. Also, they showed more about, a little bit about the rebels, and I can kind of, you could already picture it, but you can kind of tell that things aren't going to be working out as some of the club members are wanting it to with the rebels. So yeah, there's a lot going on in the show. this episode did a good job of balancing it, and of course it's well acted, it's well directed, it's well edited. The cinematography is phenomenal. I like the music that they had for this episode. The music is a key thing with these shows. You know, to the to the motorcycle chases, to the gunfights. There's always music involved. So yeah, I like the music. I like where they're taking this. If this season can continue out with this and just not be like the first episode, and I'm okay with it even being kind of like the third episode. If you watch my review, you know what I'm talking about. But if it can stick to this episode and the formula for this episode, the rest of the season is going to be great. And you know, I do like these characters. These characters are very, very interesting. I like the world that Kurt Sutter has made. So I'm always going to be invested into this world. But at the same time, if they don't start, you know, developing out their characters, this show is going to fail. And so far, they're doing a better job at it, but it's not 100% yet for all the episodes. But yeah, you know, I did enjoy this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, as always, let's talk about it down in the comments. I am going to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I think this episode was probably the best episode. I liked everything about this episode, but I'm also looking at it as a whole of the season so far, and I just kind of rambled on about that. But like always, if you want to talk to me about this show and what your predictions are, you know, let's talk about down there. Also, I didn't mention it, but do you like how they're portraying Chucky in this episode? I like Chucky, especially from Sons. You know, I liked how they did him in Sons, but I'm curious on why he's not working for Sons anymore. He's kind of working for the Mayans. I want them to kind of tell me that, just because I want an explanation on why he's not with Chibs. Also, do you want Chibs and Happy and Tiggs to show up in like a cameo type deal in this episode, season or series? I do. I want to see Chibs again. I want to see how they're functioning without Jax. You know, there's a lot of things I want from this show, and I haven't gotten it 100%, but there's still time, and let's just talk about it in the comments. You know, are you liking every episode from this? Do you agree with that they need character development? Do you agree with that they kind of jumped right into the whole storylines and stuff like that, and they didn't take their time? Because in Sons, with some of the storylines that they're going on right now, would have been like this in depth. It was like season 4 or 5 for, you know, Sons, for them to get into this stuff, but in this they just jumped right into it, which I think is part of the problem with the pacing of the show and how they develop out the characters. But yeah, let's just talk about down there. Also, you can give me review critiques on how you like my reviews. Do you like how I kind of ramble and just talk to you about everything that I'm thinking about the show, even though that I sometimes repeat myself? Or do you want me to do a more strategic review? Just let me know down in the comments. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages, Facebook for my channel pages, there will be links in my description. Links in the description for this video. You can click on over there and follow me. You know, for updates on personal life, things I picked up, things I might be giving away, shows I might talk about, like I might watch Manic, which is Netflix's new show with Emma Stone and Jonah Hill. I might talk about it over there. I'm not going to review it unless you guys want me to. I might review it over there on one of those platforms. I might give away some digital copies. Who knows? I also go live sometimes on Instagram and Facebook, so you could check out my live videos, live streams over there. Or you could just message me and we can just talk and have a conversation. I'll talk to anyone. And yeah, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button because it really does help me out. Also, share it with all your friends, family, everyone that you know, and even people that you don't know. And hit that subscribe button for more awesome content like this. And also, I hope that you check back every Tuesday for the next review in this series for Mayans MC. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.